Warren Buffett said, if you can't control your emotions, then you can't control your money. My name is Darius.
And I'm Carmen. Welcome to the Wealth Nation channel, where financial freedom isn't just a dream, it is a reality. In this video, we are going to share with you the top 3 things you need to know in order to better manage your emotions so that you can make more money, right? That's what we all want to do.
Right. And money is one of those funny things because
Money is funny.
Money is funny. It seems like the more you worry about it, the less you have.
Totally.
The less you worry about it, the more you have.
It's that energy, right? It's the energy you bring in and out of the conversation.
Right. And when we think about energy, the first thing that comes to mind is your emotion. Just like Warren Buffett said, your emotion is going to dictate like how much money you have. Money is a game. Yes, it's a game, but it's not like the sports that we're used to. It's more like chess and not football. You can have emotion in the football, but you can't have as much emotion when it comes to our
Chess
money.
or poker.
Or poker. Yeah. No. When it comes to chess.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the game that we're playing is chess, and this is logical. Mm-hmm. It's a logical game that we're playing. So one of the emotions that comes into it in the first point is fear and greed. Mm-hmm. That's a big emotion, because fear, what it does is it's one of the biggest culprits when it comes to financial decisions. And fear can cause you to panic and, for example, sell in a down market because I don't want to miss out, or what's going to happen. I'm scared. I don't know what to do. And fear can make you miss out on opportunities.
Mm-hmm. And also, and miss out on opportunities. And also, I think about fear as like a crippling thing, or that you don't take action, right? Because I know for maybe us, when we got started with budgeting, or even we know other families who like just don't want to look at their numbers, right? They just want their numbers to continue to control them instead of them control their numbers. And what I've learned over the years is, as it pertains to fear, which is this is, one emotion that we absolutely have to curb, is when you recognize that fear is just in between ignorance and knowledge. It's just that gap, right, of the unknown. And so if we can just label it differently, as opposed to letting fear just stop us in our tracks and keep us from taking action, we can really start to think about the things that we can do to empower ourselves to get from ignorance to knowledge, right? Because if you think about the fact that you just don't want to look at your numbers, or you're really fearful about the different investments, just educate yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Let me just have the different perspective of, let me be a happy learner. Let me start understanding, what do my numbers look like? Why do I continue to have the same situation happen every single month? Why am I really not into this investment, but I know that I probably should be investing? It's about addressing those emotional things. It's not the money itself. It's the emotion that you allow yourself to keep you from moving forward and not.
Right. And on top of that, the part B to this is greed.
Oh, yeah.
Greed is another emotion that doesn't serve us, because it can lead to us taking excessive risks. And what risk that we take means that we're chasing quick profits and ignoring the fundamentals, ignoring the education. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't put us in a good position for the logical decisions that comes with the research and the education around the fundamentals of how money actually works.
Yeah. And with fear and greed, what they both have in common is that you forgo logic.
Yeah.
Right. With either situation, you forgo logic. Now, for example, let's bring this into like the conversation that we typically have on the Wealth Nation channel. When it comes to fear, if you're fearful of thinking about getting life insurance or using your whole life insurance policy to improve your financial situation by using the cash value to invest, again, fear can come into it. One, because it's probably something unknown. It's a product that you might be unfamiliar with. It's a product that somebody probably told you not to do, or told you something about it. But again, it just goes back to the gap between ignorance and knowledge, and you closing that gap. Greed, how are you using your policies irresponsibly? Are you just getting loan after loan after loan and not repaying the systems back? Again, it goes back to what are we doing at the end of the day? Just foregoing logic and making sure that we have that foundation in place, so that logic is always ruling, as opposed to the emotions are ruling our systems.
Right. So with that, before we move on to the next point, is we have to keep our emotions in check.
Yes.
So we have to...
Easier said than done.
Yeah.
We're preaching to the choir.
So we have to practice mindfulness and stress management, so that we can make logical decisions instead of emotional decisions, especially when it comes to our money. So taking a deep breath, taking a step back, making sure that you're looking at all the parameters is very important, and making sure that our decisions as it relates to money is logical and not emotional.
Cue the meditation app sponsor. You know who you are. Come holler at us. This would be an amazing opportunity, right? Because at the end of the day, we know that when we don't have the mindfulness, when we lack the mindfulness, that's always going to show up in our bank account.
Right. And you know what? This is a part of the step number 2 also, because it's a part of a plan. You need to follow a plan. Put a plan in place for when financial decisions come up. And a part of that is to make sure that you're practicing mindfulness and stress management techniques, so you can keep your emotions in check. So with the plan, you can avoid making impulsive decisions, and you always, again, take a step back and review your financial plan, and maybe even talk to a trusted financial advisor, so that when you're making major financial decisions. And it may not be a trusted advisor, it may be your wife, if you guys are making financial decisions together. I know Carmen and I had a situation recently where I got emotional about money as it relates to my family, and she had to take the time. She had to make me aware of the fact that I need to take a step back. I need to take a deep breath, and I need to make sure that I am focused on the root cause of why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with money.
It had nothing to do with money.
Nothing to do with money, just the emotions that we place on things.
And that's how we end up making some
poor decisions
as it relates to money.
Absolutely. And going back to following the plan and mindfulness, what we like to call it here at Wealth Nation is wealth consciousness. So we actually have a retreat every year. It's called the Wealth Conscious Retreat. And again, it's just about making conscious decisions, avoiding the fly by the seat of your pants decision when it comes to money. We know that we make those decisions, but how can we start making less of those decisions so that we can keep more of our money, right? Going back to what Warren Buffett always says, keep more of your money. And we already know, with the whole point of following the plan, when we think about our life insurance policies, if we're borrowing the cash from the policies, how can we stop making impulsive decisions of getting those loans? How can we create the right loan repayment schedule? What does that look like so that you can follow the plan? Again, if you're a Wealth Nation client, we can create a flight plan for you, meaning your roadmap, so that you know how to repay that loan, how long it's going to take you, and how much money is going back towards that repayment every month. So these are the things that we want to make sure that we can not only help you if you're aspiring to be a policyholder, or if you're aspiring to just manage your money soundly, right? The first thing that I wish people taught me with this whole process was check your emotions at the door, because numbers and equations are just plus and minus signs, right? And multiplication, a little bit of division. Nowhere in that equation is room for emotion.
Right. Now, that brings us to our third point, is to make informed decisions. It's not about suppressing your emotion, it's being able to make decisions in spite of your emotions. So you need to recognize when you need to make informed decisions despite your emotions that you feel at the time.
Totally.
And again, we're going to take it back to taking a deep breath, make sure that you're practicing mindfulness and your stress management, so that despite of your emotions, you can make informed decisions.
You know, as you were just saying this, I was thinking what we can do for this video is we can create like a checklist, like stop before you get emotional, go through this checklist so that you can remove the emotion out of it, right, and actually make an informed decision. So I'll work on that so that we can accompany it with the checklist. And the reason why I say that is because Darius and I have our own checklist. And as he was blowing up, being frustrated, the other day, I literally was walking him through the checklist, of just like point A, where are we at here? Point B, and we were going through everything. And I can say that after the checklist, right? Or after our conversation, you had a different level of understanding where you were.
I literally had to sit down on the couch and Carmen took out her checklist and we went through it. But a part of that is I had to be open to it.
The willingness had to be there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So even when you have a partner, be a trusted financial advisor or just somebody that's kind of keeping you, what do you call it? Accountable. Even if it's an accountability person or accountability partner, it works both ways. You have to give in order to get. And the same thing with the other person. If you guys are going to be a team, you have to be able to recognize when the other person is being emotional. Not whether or not it's a good or a bad idea to spend money on whatever it is, but is this decision emotional or logical.
And the flip side of that too, what I want people to also gather from this conversation is you can be making an emotional decision that's happy, right? That can still wreck your system. And you can be making an emotional decision that's negative or, positive and negative. I guess I should use those words. And it's still wrecking your system. So even though you may be teetering on the fence of like, oh, this is good, this is great. No, that can still bankrupt you. So again, you have to understand you have to comprehend how emotions can make you make financial decisions. And usually we're trending on the side of making what we feel is a positive decision because in some way, shape, or form, it's going to make us feel better. But just making us feel better also doesn't add up when it comes to numbers.
Right. And we make emotional decisions based on our consumption.
Oh, yeah.
We consume emotionally. We eat emotionally. We do everything emotionally. But in order to manage our money, we have to take a step back.
Totally.
We have to take a step back. And what I really hope that this video did is it allowed you to take a step back from your day to day and say, am I making emotional decisions? Have I made emotional decisions prior to watching this video? We have, and we do it, and we have to check ourselves, and we're the one that's teaching you about it. So emotions happen. We're emotional people.
It's deeply embedded in our beings, right? We're emotional beings. We can be emotional beings.
Right.
And if we allow ourselves to continue to be these emotional beings, your bank account's going to reflect that.
Right. So back to Warren Buffett's quote, if you can't control your emotions, then you can't control your money. If you want more information on how we manage our money using the 50-30-20 rule, then check out our next video.
And remember to own your own lifestyle.
Or your emotions will.